Imagine being hated for simply being you. Imagine not getting a job because you showed up the wrong skin color. Imagine your white friends assuming that you got kidnapped because your white grandfather picked you up from practice. Imagine your white softball team giving you the nickname of Young Money. I understand that there's an attack on my race. I understand that there's an attack on our hair. There's an attack on our culture, our education, our money. There is an attack on our progression. Now, this is not a new issue. In fact, history repeats itself.
If you're choosing to not see my color or ignoring my color, you're ignoring my history and everything behind that. Like, you're ignoring my identity, who I am as a person. Like, my color is a part of who I am, and if you want to ignore that, then you're ignoring who I am. You're ignoring me, and that's wrong.
Everything has a color. It's like saying, hey, I don't see pink or blue. It's ridiculous because at the end of the day, when you look at history, when you look at politics to this day, it's always black people are always at the bottom, white people are always at the top. You might say, oh, I don't see color, but you see how white people interact with black people and you see how black people interact with white people. As black people, we grow up learning that we have to have different voices for different people, especially when it comes to white people or people that's white that's employing us, because we know as black people, if we talk the way we talk on the streets, we won't get that job. We know that if we talk the way we talk with our family compared to people at school or at college, they will look at us like we're ghetto and that we're not educated.
Personally, I would say that might be just part of like just the way that we humans are just tribalistic. And then in terms of like say like since we look a certain way and we have like a community just built on that way that we look, and then also combine that with history, um, you would take like a word like that like used to be a bit more demeaning, and they would like turn that into, it seems like they turned into like a more prideful word instead of like a demeaning word, or like say like take that out of their community, or and it would be like as if like it would be used back into that demeaning term.
When it came to the N word, white people used that to degrade us, to put us at a lower level. So as black people, we decided that we were going to take that word back and make that something that they can't use to degrade us. So we get offended when they think, oh, it's just a word. No, it has meaning, it has history. So of course we get offended by that. It's not something like, oh yeah, we're friends. No, you're not allowed to call us that, because at the end of the day, your people made that to offend us, to make us feel lower class than you, to make us feel like we're nothing. And so we took that as, hey, this is our word now. You can say it, but you have no power. You're not gonna feel powerful over us. So yeah.
All lives matter. I really don't know how to like describe that with me being a black person, because I only know Black Lives Matter, and I just know that's most important in the whole world.
Like Black Lives Matter is more important than All Lives Matter because like we got trials and tribulations that we going through that white people just don't understand. You feel me? That other people just don't understand just because the color of our skin.
I feel like the friction behind that is negating the movement that we going through. Like it's basically to shut it down because they weren't saying that at first. They weren't saying that when the black people was getting killed. They didn't want to say all lives matter. They were saying that once we said all lives matter, then they want to flip it into something else, saying that all lives matter, whatever.
My take on All Lives Matter. I mean, all lives do matter, but at the same time, all lives, you feel me, aren't just put in danger as much as African Americans, as black people. Like
Black Lives Matter rally back home in Toronto, and it felt really nice to be black and be surrounded by black people, just from all around the city that came together. The so that was the good. The ugly was that the Toronto Police Department had only sent over their African American cops to be a part of the rally, and that is ugly because why can't we all support it? Like Black Lives Matter. Why is that something where we have to distinguish like only black people can come, or we should send over the black people? Like that was the ugly part of it.
Me, I love being black. I ain't gonna lie. Like I love being black. Like I feel like me, like personally, me being black just, you feel me, stand for something. Like I gotta show people that black people, black young males aren't just, you know, bad people, aren't people that just belong in jail, aren't the people that the percentile that, you feel me, of Americans in this world that's gonna be more than likely to fail. Like we not failures, you feel me? At heart, we not failures. We've been working our whole life as African Americans, you feel me? So success is a must.
You hear about like racism and shit, you watch the movies. Your parents might talk to you about it, but like when you growing up and you experience it, it's like different, you know? And it's like a lot of other factors that like kind of it's like a lot of, I don't want to say like temptations, but like kind of like temptations that kind of throw you off track. That's why you see a lot of black people off track, because there's forces against us in this country.
I feel like African Americans have to deal with people's opinions. For example, our hair, the way we dress, the way we talk. I feel like we're always judged by our culture, our attitudes. Everybody makes it a difference. So I just feel like though our culture makes us different from everybody in a sense, but people begin to judge it negatively. So I feel like it makes living in America way different than how the average Caucasian family may live.
Someone had told me that them being gay was the same thing as me being black, and so I shouldn't feel upset about being the only black person in that situation. And I cut that off right away, because you can't look at someone and assume that they're gay, but you can look at me and see that I'm different than everyone else. So that's a situation where I just had to cut it off, because no, we're not gonna devalue my color to make your homosexuality feel more generalized. Everyone's different, and that should be the end of it. We shouldn't have to characterize them or put them in a hierarchy. Like, that shouldn't happen.
Black Lives Matter movement, because you feel me, that movement was like very empowering for black people. All the different walks, parades, seminars, everything. And it's like seeing all this stuff on TV, it's just like, it's good to be a black person. It's good to, you feel me, see that everybody actually care about this movement, see that everybody actually like trying to put their 2 cents in and having a voice for the black community.
When I hear you talk proper for a black girl, or you talk proper for someone who's black in general, like that just refers to my intelligence, and the way that I talk has nothing to do with my intelligence. The way that I grew up has nothing to do with my intelligence. My own work has to do with my intelligence, and that should be the end of it. It shouldn't have to deal with the way I talk.
But no, I ain't never really feel like I don't even want to be black. I always was proud to be black, like since I was like a shorty. So I was like, it was like, I ain't gonna say it's an everyday thing, but like sometimes I wake up like, I'm glad, you know, type shit.